Greetings. Thank you for connecting here. This is a series that I have started called Connecting the Web, where I seek out friends, spirit bridges, and Animist Ministers of Web of Life. This is Web of Life Animist Network, so welcome. So I'm grateful to be here with Sova Victoria, who is a friend of Web of Life and also a minister. And in her own right, she calls it a root worker, which we'll get to, in Prescott, Arizona. And people come to her for help. So, welcome, Sova.
Thank you.
All right. So, what prompted this conversation was that, Sova, you just had an opportunity to go to Peru, and you've been sharing some deep thoughts on the return, like during it and then coming back. And I thought it would be a good time to have a chat. And because I am aware of after a big experience, there's this liminal space and it lingers, right? And then after a while, that kind of shifts back into the normal world, although we often are changed. But what's top of mind when you think about your recent experience?
Well, going to the jungle and it's the very deep jungle. So when we went through Iquitos, it was a very big culture shock. I have been to the ghettos in Mexico, but that was a very long time ago. So going to Iquitos and seeing just like the shock of how different that they live there, how there's kids and dogs and everything running around with no food or trash all over, living on the streets. And so we went through all of that to get to an ayahuasca center, which was very shocking too, because I just listened to my friend and he was like, this is the best place ever. And then I get there and I'm like, oh my God, we're going to be like sleeping in hammocks and there's no hot water. And none of it was like something that I wouldn't have chosen, but to like know more about what was happening would have been nice. Um, and so we get there and yeah, we're in it with the people, the village, the medicine men and women, and it was like really exciting experience to be in the actual middle of where ayahuasca was being made right next to us by the actual medicine people, and then them being there singing to us and teaching us and listening to our intentions and really having that woven into the experience.
That was your first time with the vine?
No,
Mm.
I've sat with Mama Ayahuasca very, quite a few ceremonies,
Mm.
but never in the actual center, the heart center of where she's being brewed and
And living,
loved.
and yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Okay, so let's see. What comes to your mind? Let's say when the time, the week, or whatever it was over, and you are starting to contemplate the whole thing, like in hindsight. For you as a person, what what's top of mind about what was shown to you that you would want to talk about? But outside of like specific experiences, the overview of what was revealed to you or what it did for you.
So my intention going there was two things. First, my hips have been bothering me and really causing a lot of problems and bringing up a whole bunch of trauma and different things to kind of work with gently, to love, to somatically see and hold and release. And that's been happening for, it's been about like maybe 4 to 6 months. And my other intention was to somatically get out of my body any like residual I am not enoughness that has come from, relationships and different people that were supposed to love me, that, supposed to love me, but did not. Um, so going through that experience and sitting with the mother, so much comes up. And I was being asked to really like see my enoughness from her viewpoint. And so she really takes it and like she's like, let I want you to see yourself from my eyes. And so that was really huge. And then being there in this hip issue, I'm being asked really like for, future relationship, wherever that comes, like a partner coming in, I have to learn how to receive. And so that came up a lot during this time. From males that were facilitators, I had to talk to them and say, look, you can't just come up to my mat while I'm in the middle of the journey and say, get up and take, because they take us to the shamans to sing to us and follow that intention. And so I had to say, like, I need help. I need you to hold my hand, even though we're not supposed to touch people during this time because of like any energy transference. But I'm like, look, I need help up to the mat, and you need to walk with me and hold my hand and then walk me back. And in doing that, it was really, really beautiful because some of the males that I was like, oh my God, these guys are ridiculous. Them in that beautiful position to hold my hand and really nurture and walk with me was very beautiful for them to be in that space and for me. And so some of the guys that were there, it was like after they were holding my hand, like realizing that they're protective and that they're really wanting to be that person. So it was like a beautiful thing for them to step up into that place and for me to accept help and know I can't do this alone. I really do need to receive right now, because usually I'm like, dude, I can birth a baby naturally, throw it on my back, continue on, go to the grocery store like nothing happened. That's just like how I do it. But realizing I shouldn't have ever had to do it that way. And so sitting there with that, my hips, this enoughness that is me, that's my root, both connected, and then having the medicine men sing to me in these beautiful ways. Like they all had different ones, different voices, but the songs were directed to my intentions. And so the intentions that we came up with, because I had to come up with 6 full nights of intentions. And so it was sexual trauma. It was my dad passing and me having to raise myself, basically living on the streets. Uh, there was stuff from my ex and being in that relationship and all of the abuse that I went through for over 20 years. And so things like that, along with the hips and the medicine men, when they would hear my intention, would soften. Like the man that made the center, he really, really, like one of his huge focuses was women not being hurt by medicine man, because that, they use that sometimes, a lot of them, especially in Peru. They're like, these dumb people coming down here, we can totally just like take advantage of them, even sexually. And
Mm-hmm.
so he really wanted his place to be safe for women with sexual trauma. Like that was number one for him. And so when he heard the things that were going on with me, I could see him soften. And he was like, okay, I want her to work with this. He gave me a plant that was a heart opener, and he was like very gentle with me. And so when all of them heard that, the way that they sang to me was so healing of the masculine and the feminine, because they're singing to my hips in this soft, beautiful tone and really like nurturing me as that kind of like father, masculine protector way. And so that was so beautiful. And then to have like everything that came up, and all, we had 6 ceremonies, we were there for 10 days. And everything that came up every night with Mama Ayahuasca was about somatically healing. So I kept being told, go down into your hips and really live there, really heal there, bring all of your power and your femininity down from up here in these spaces where we kind of hold ourselves sometimes, and really deepen and embody them in the hips, because that's what's coming up. And with the hip thing, I was seeing how much like I'm moving and transitioning into this new space in my life, like really, really healing the old me to step into whatever this new me is. And so my hips are kind of like crooked right now, and one foot is going one direction, one whole leg, and one leg is holding on and bracing and saying, no, we're not moving, we're not going, this is unsafe. And so like there's this shift in them where they're like, I'm not sure if I'm fully in right now or fully out right now and where we're going with this. And that's happening in my life. And so there was a lot of fear of stepping into myself and really like calling myself what I am, being who I am in the world, saying, hey, like this is what I do over here, instead of hiding behind just like body work and massage and stuff. And so that push has been let go, like the dam has opened. But then this like liminal space that I'm in is like, okay, who am I fully as this being that I am? Like there's been so much hold back, there's been so much trauma, there's been so much like initiation, and now it's like coming to maybe not an end, but it's coming to a different chapter. And I'm like, oh God, but what is this chapter where I'm fully me and I'm fully out there? And it feels like that. It feels both like beautiful that I've broken through this shell, but then it's like, well, who am I here? And what actually brings me joy? So something huge that came up is I help everybody all day long, every day. And I'm not a caretaker type, but I'm always giving and I love seeing people transform. But I don't do that for myself. And so really looking at, okay, not only receiving from other people I need to do because that has never happened, but receiving from myself needs to happen. So really like dating myself, being excited about exploring who I am. And when I got back from the trip, I didn't even know, like I wasn't consciously thinking this, but this question kept coming up in my mind of what brings you joy in the daily? And that's like a beautiful question to ask. But then I was like, shit, I have no freaking idea. Like, so it was like more of like, yeah, a beautiful question, but it's like a slap in the face that I don't even know right now. And so
Well,
there's
wait a minute, but you just said that you were in a phase now of beginning to date yourself. When you're beginning to date someone, you don't know shit
totally,
about them.
I
So in a
know,
way, don't take it as a like, oh, I should no, maybe you knew your old self, but not this becoming self.
totally, totally. It was just pissing me off when I first got back because I'm
You
like,
want to have it all figured out, right?
yeah,
I
yeah.
want to
And I'm
know it
like, how do I
all.
not know this? And then I came to the conclusion of, okay, I need to date myself and explore myself. But like, I'm in this transition of, I have 7 children and 6 of them have lived with me forever. I mean, like, my 21-year old still lives with me. So all of them are here. And just now, there's this transition period of all but 2 of them kind of moving on and moving out and like leaving all at the same time. And so
Wow.
I freaked out because I'm so close to all of them and it's like all at the same time. That's a little too much for my heart, you know? And then with that happening and me having this more freedom to go explore myself and my heart and my wants, which has always been to go and sit with medicine people that are truly doing it, that are truly living it all over the world. I've always wanted to do that and kind of like give back in a way while I'm there. And so anyway, having this freedom, but also this like transition period of wait a second, I've been a mom for 25 years. What the heck do I do right now with that? And so yeah, that exploring of myself and really deepening into who I truly am aside from just mom.
Yeah, wow. Well, I would say around the world, the majority of women in your position, when the kids start to fly on their own, then that leaves open a whole bunch of energy to then put into this part of yourself, the joy part, but also well, I want to hear you talk about root work, about your root worker self, about your creations and your spirit work and such. And it's very common that women who are mothers then come into this next phase, right? And then bodies change and such, and then it's this perfect time, and you can have quite a long time of that. That is your version of mothering, although the mother of children never goes away.
Yeah.
So really, it sounds like perfect timing,
Yeah.
actually. Not
Yeah.
you're not too late because you made and created and supported these amazing humans, and then now reallocation of that energy into a different version of tending. So you mentioned body work, massage, such. Is that how you started? And then the root work. I want to hear more about, because not many people call themselves root workers. And then also interesting about your hips, and you said root. So now also you are practicing on yourself, right? You're doing your own root work.
Totally.
And part of the transition between like, oh, I'm a massage therapist, or oh, I'm a Reiki practitioner, and then finding your own way and feeling what wants to come through you as an individual, and then it feels a little more either witchy or magical or and then the coming out with that. What do you have to say about that process?
Well, so when I was born, my dad actually knew that I was coming, and his grandma had said that I would come, and he was kind of waiting for me, but he was done with his seven children. He didn't want any more, but he knew that I was coming, and then he got with my mom and had me. She didn't want me at all. He wanted me, and he was dying right before I was born and right after. And he prayed that he would be there enough to raise me because he knew that no one else was going to.
Hmm.
And so that's how I started out, is in that like kind of beautiful prophecy, I guess, of my dad knowing.
The
And
eighth child, the
yeah.
magical eight. Yeah. Wow.
And so from birth, he could see that I was kind of different. I was more like him, which he hadn't seen before. And because of that, I was able to see basically beyond the veil. And because of that, my mom and my grandma, who had their own demons, were incredibly abusive to me. And so he would take me and kind of foster those gifts without telling them and really like teach me. So every single night before bed, he would teach me the like his Croatian ways and spiritual ways of like the medicine people. And for every single night for 2+ hours, ever since I could talk up until he passed, he taught me all of these things. And so I already knew that I was a witch. And I didn't know that there was anything else, anybody else out there like me
Mm-hmm.
until I was like 12, when he was like, "You do know that there's other witches out there." And I was like, "Oh my God, that's the greatest thing. Why didn't you tell me that before?" But he was that way. And so he taught me that. And then he passed when I was 13. And I mean, I lived on the streets, I raised myself. And then I ended up meeting my husband, who said, "Oh, you fit with me." And so I ended up with him.
Mm.
Yeah, blah, blah, that goes down. But I completely, in order to be with him, I unconsciously shut down my gifts. And so I could not see.
So common. So
Yeah.
common. Yeah.
And so when I started reopening my gifts was when I went to massage school. And I was just, all I was thinking is, I really love to heal people. I really love to help people. I've been doing this my entire life. So I could do this for $50 an hour, $100 an hour, and I can get my kids and myself out of this mess, because $7 an hour isn't going to help us.
Mm.
And so I got really comfortable being the massage therapist instead of being who I truly was. And part of this seeing that I do is I can see people's roots. I can see their shadows. I like when I meet somebody or when I start talking to them, I can see all of their darkest shit, their secrets, what they've done, who they've hurt, all of these things, along with their beauty and their medicine. as if I'm sitting with like a plant or something like that. I can see the person's actual medicine that needs to be used that maybe they can't see. And so at first, growing up, that was very off putting for me because people could tell that I could see, but unconsciously they would either that was challenging them or that was hurting them or without me saying anything. So when I started transitioning to I can actually use this to help people, that was a little scary too because I had been abused for the seeing. And now I'm putting myself out there saying, hey guys, I can see and I can help you. How is that going to be received in the world? And
Right.
so, yeah, that kind of the cross from massage and body work and kind of doing all of the things that I do on the down low with the people that come to see me, and then saying, hey guys, this is what I do, and then being like, oh my God, but if I say I can do it and people just walk up to me and say, do this for me, is it actually going to come? Is it like a performance now? Like it, can I call it up at will because I'm saying I actually do it and people are actually asking for it?
And
That's
expecting it.
yeah.
Right.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I told you at one time, I'm like, well, what if I hold up the sign and say, hey, I can do this? But then I have to write, a disclaimer saying, but maybe nothing will come at all.
Or maybe you
So
won't like what comes. That's
yeah,
definitely a
oh yeah, that's
disclaimer.
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're probably not going to like anything that comes. I'm probably going to talk to you
Probably
about
not.
your
I
good
have
shit.
that disclaimer that I use. You may not like what comes through. It doesn't mean it's wrong necessarily. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, stepping into that role. So, what I do, people actually, what's funny, people around town in Payson and Prescott started actually calling me a witch doctor
Mm.
without me saying what I was. And so that was actually hilarious. Like my landlord wanted to put witch doctor on the door, Victoria Sova, witch doctor. And he
Oh.
didn't even understand. He's just there. I mean, they're all the spiritual of it, like it's scary for some people, but they're actually like a lot of people are really like, oh, seeing this is what's happening with me. And so they joke about it, but it's actually like being spread out there, which has been funny actually for
Mm-hmm.
me now that it's actually out there. But I noticed that a lot of people are taking me a lot different than just saying I'm a body worker, which has been really beautiful.
Yeah. Well, and then you've helped enough people where they might say, well, okay, yeah, maybe this or that, or maybe it sounds weird, but man, she helped me. And that goes a long way to quell a lot of bad vibes that
Yeah,
you're
it's
not
been
just performing and not coming through.
totally. It's been kind of funny because I help a lot for some reason of men, like really men type of protector. Like I have a lot of them be like, I'm not gonna do that yoga shit because I'm not gay,
Right.
like stuff like that. And then
Mm.
all of a sudden I have them bawling their eyes out, being like, oh my God, I can't believe that this just happened. And
Good.
so without me saying what I do, they end up telling their friends, oh my God, she's like a white witch. Oh my
She's
God.
real. She's
Yeah.
real. Yeah.
And so they're the ones spreading that name even before I can, which has been really funny
Mm.
to witness and really beautiful because they're actually seeing, oh, okay, this isn't bad. This isn't this isn't gay. This isn't this, all these words that they have for it. They're like, wow, this is really beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Especially when they receive something they need.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, so for anyone watching, like there's a lot of people, well, in the big picture it's probably not a lot, but you are not the only one that this kind of stuff happens for and to and is in you, right? Like and so it is important for people to hear stories from people that have had some version of this experience because actually, like when your father said, there are others, that was the whole first phase for me after I got hit on the head at 25 and then all this stuff started opening up is that the voices, the guidance was saying you need to start breaking this up into small pieces because this is a version of this is happening to other people and they don't have anyone to help them. And so you need to break it down so that other people can do it on their own. And so there's a good number of us around the world, right? Every culture. It's not just some cultures, it's every culture in lineages. Those of us with our own brew of whatever it is, right,
Totally.
exist. And so, one thing that we agreed that was an important topic to bring up is about being empathic, whether or not someone would say, I'm an empath, which people talk like that now, right, since the Star Trek empath, but also just being empathic. And it can be very confusing. Is this me? A lot of times people think these things I'm feeling, it's just a weird part of me, and what to own as us and what not. And so you work with a lot of people and they tell you things. And then in your own experience, what do you think is important to say about being being empathic in this culture is not easy. It's hard. So anyway, what comes to you to share about that?
Well, this is kind of a difficult topic
Hmm.
for the trend of empathic people now. It's like they've called it this word and said what it is, but it's not completely the way that they're preaching that it is. So, like, taking on people's stuff is is not just something that we need to do even as like a full-on empath. There's ways for us to not do that. There's ways to be a healthy empath, and there's also ways to be, they call it a dark empath, because we work in the dark with people and we take on their stuff purposely in order to help the other person with it. So me and my dad, we are able to touch people and actually take their disease, whether that is emotional, whether it's physical. It's not every single time that I touch people or I'd be some sort of faith healer, but
Hmm.
but I can actually touch them and I can either see what is going on with them better or in a different way, or I can feel it in my body without taking it on, or I can actually take their stuff and it's kind of like eating it is what I say, but it's like transforming it inside of me and then dispersing it out. So I take it in and then it leaves. And that's something that a lot of us can do if we weren't being scared of other people's stuff. Because that fear, something that I said lately is we're all feeling the stuff, especially in America and the Western society. We are all feeling what's going on here anyway.
Absolutely. Yep.
And some of us more so than others.
Mm.
So why don't we take that, and instead of being scared of it because we're already feeling it, why don't we transform it? Why don't we do something different with it? Like, another thing that happens for empaths is that they attract narcissist people into their lives for a lot of their lives, for all of their lives, for some of it, because they're empaths, because they're healers. And then they find out that the narcissist is a narcissist, and they freak out and they pinpoint every single narcissist around them, and everybody starts becoming a narcissist to them, as if they're like attracting that because that's all that they're seeing. But the lesson there is more of, how can I be a healthy empath that doesn't leak out and feel everything and take all of his stuff and heal it so that he doesn't have to do any healing? How can I change the dynamic of me so I stop attracting the narcissist? How do I heal the wound in me and still be an empath, but maybe change the way that I'm exchanging and learn from that so that I don't have to keep seeing narcissists around me? Because when we do that, the narcissists start to fall away. I mean, they're not completely in our everyday environment because they're not attracted to our leakage anymore.
That's an important thing to say. I've noticed that in my own life too, and in lots of other people, which is that the best thing to do is not try to change anyone else. or to heal anyone else or to take it on so that you can heal it for them. That doesn't work. I mean, the way you're talking about it as a practitioner, but that's skilled and for a purpose. But just in relationships, just to be loved and not just, that's not just adjust, but that's a lot, the reason, right? That's all dangerous, and it ends up messing with the person who is traumatized and sensitive.
Totally.
And yeah, but I think, and a lot of women get trained like, well, maybe I can change them.
Oh yeah, that's
With my
ridiculous.
love, they can change. Honey, nobody's going to change unless they do their own work to change. And so the best thing we can do to change who we feel is drawn to us and we're drawn to is to change those energetics, right? Of what energies get kind of triggered or pinged because of our past trauma, right? Because of what we've been trained to be. And then we date ourselves and we learn about ourselves and shift and do the work on ourselves. That's what changes our relationships for sure. And it might be that everyone who was in our life falls away.
Yeah,
And
that's
so it does
most of the
bring
time that is it.
change. Yes.
Yes,
And so sometimes people can get down about that, but no, just it's a longer process. And so we have to like crumble and fall away and then see what is us.
exactly,
And
exactly.
then that creates a new energetic system that draws us to people and people to us. Yeah, that's important. So then that leads to the final thing I wanted to talk to you about. Well, I mean, we could talk a long time, but we could talk in parts, right? So for this part, the changing these patterns and about reclaiming ourself or being in this culture can be difficult of trying to be ourself, especially as a female-bodied person or someone trained to be female, right? Because now there's a lot of words about gender and such, but being trained in a certain way. The act of claiming self. What feels important to mention about that, either from your own experience or also what you've seen with working with a lot of people?
Um, yeah, I think that we all come to this crossroads at some point in our lives where we're asked to jump into who we truly are and be that in the world. And a lot of times, like you just said, everything else that was the past us needs to fall away, including people. I mean, I see this all the time that people lose, or it's not really a loss at this point, but their husband or their
Mm-hmm.
wife from the past, or a job that was their identity, all of these things that they were identifying with for so many years. And then they get to this point where it's a choice. They either have to let this go so that they can become something new, or they have to stay in the comfortable for the rest of their life. And it just gets worse and worse when they don't choose to go and move forward. So reclaiming ourselves is that crossroads where we start to be, instead of the human seed walking around, we become the actual bloomed human.
Hmm.
And sometimes that can take, I mean, a lot of times I feel like there's these plants that are fire plants. I forgot what they're called, like pyro something. And the only way that they will grow, they will lay dormant in the soil forever until they're burned with fire.
Oh, that's true with pine cones and such. That's the only time they let their seeds go is when there's fire.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the manzanita tree that
Mm-hmm.
has that beautiful maroon
The
inside of
red
it, the
bar.
fire
Yep. Mm-hmm.
lilies, and the phoenix. I mean, that's
Mm.
what it truly is this being burned so that we can become our true medicine, our true fire lily. And people don't really understand that. They just stay being burned constantly and they never actually become the fire lily or the phoenix. They just think that their whole life is being burned, like that victim mentality. But it's really important for us to be like, okay, it's time. Now that I've been burned, I can actually grow, I can actually sprout. And so that's really important. And one of the things that I say to people is, life is not against us. Life is truly for us. it's just showing us lessons and different things that we need to learn. Like when we have something come up in our body, I don't care what it is, anything in our body or in our environment is trying to tell us something about our inner life that we need to heal or that we need to see, that we need to love inside of ourselves. Everything is a beautiful lesson if we'll take it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we're sitting there having those things happen to us, we truly need to pay attention to them and then choose, what are we going to do with this, and listen to it.
Yeah, and when you speak about that, it makes me think about how so many people are brought up in certain religions that have a "you are bad" baseline, right? And so when people like the being burned or patterns, or maybe something starts to hurt in the body, or there's something going on, like some kind of ailment or something that flares up and comes and is horrible, and people have the feeling like either I deserve this, I'm being punished, I'm bad, I'm broken, right? And that's one of those sets of things are some of the things that I is one of my main messages, which is what you said, which is life isn't punishing, it's for us, it's not against us, which is that's a cultural or a religious thought, that an idea that's put in our heads. And we have to actually find those things, those voices in our heads or the feelings or the beliefs that are against us, literally,
Yes,
that, right? And eradicate them, burn them, let them go, cut them off, whatever it is, because it's a poison that then we think, oh, but I've been taught that. And then most people who are sensitive or a little different than we can think too, I'm weird, I'm crazy, I'm bad, I'm demon possessed, I'm whatever it is, that especially from younger times when we're very impressionable, ideas can get wedged in there and it can be very scary to want to change them. And so
totally.
then that's the crossroads too. It's like, what am I going to take with me that is benevolent towards me, that is supporting me, and being open to that? I acknowledge it is fucking scary. And sometimes when someone faces all of these things that aren't what they were taught was, we have to be brave enough to leap into an unknown and trust that we will be cushioned and caught. And so I do have a lot of compassion for people who've been brought up in really strict environments, and it is tough. I mean, it's tough to have the bravery and the self-trust to let go and be open to change, to reclaim
Well, yeah,
ourselves.
especially when it's showing up in the body or the environment in some
Hmm.
way. Like deep shame is ALS. I mean, the people
Yeah.
that I talk to with ALS have the deepest shame, and they refuse to let go of it. I
Hmm.
have women that come to me with breast cancer and different things that have to do with their breasts because they're every single time almost they are giving to narcissists so much that they're not nourishing themselves as they would like their child. They're not
Hmm.
giving that to themselves, so it shows up in the breasts. Like every single time the things that are coming up in us, and then you have to look at I look at these people and I'm like, you have to change the thought pattern. You have to let it go. It's not yours. Like you said, it's not even our voice anymore.
Mm-mm.
It's become our voice,
Yes,
but
but
it
it's
came
not.
from outside of us.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And
And
so we
it's tricky that way, right? Because it can feel like, oh, it's a voice in my head, so it's mine. No, no, absolutely not. It got in there and it rooted in. And speaking of roots, it rooted in. It's like, I live here now. What the fuck are you going to do about it? And you got to get those fuckers off your inner couch. Like, you got to,
yeah,
like, say, it's my life or you, and I choose me. And
exactly. And they
yeah,
have to
which for a
be
lot of
able.
women can be difficult because that's not how women have been trained to be.
Yes, that we have so much healing to do inside of ourselves as women and men, but in a different way.
In a different way for men, yes.
Yeah, of like
Hmm.
knowing this is kind of another thing that along with the empath thing, knowing what's ours. Like, is
Hmm.
this truly me, or is this something that has been conditioned and told? Have like all of these curses that have been spoken over me, are they actually me, or is this somebody else saying that? And so like when was told that I was dying and there was breast things, there was heart things, there was all these things coming up. And a brother mentor man looked at me and he was like, "You're fucked right now." And I was like, "Fuck you," you know? But then he said, "Look, you have to go through the door of leaving your ex, my ex now, leaving this man, knowing that you might never get to walk back the door through the door again, that it might be permanently closed." And he was like, "You need to be a different person than the person who has been attracting this stuff into your life, this sickness and this disease by giving to this man constantly. You need to be different than that. And in a year, I need to see a completely different person than the person who attracted this so that you can live.
Mm.
Otherwise, you could die. That's how fucked it is right now." And most people will choose the comfort instead of choosing to be the different person that doesn't attract that, because it's way easier to stay in the comfort or to look at the breast cancer or to look at the issues or to look at the why me instead of to say, "I have to actually change myself. I might have to actually drop my husband or my career or my thing. I
And
might
change
actually
the
have to
voices
change."
in my head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
difficult. That's scary. That's really like, how do I even become another person? How do I even become
It's
who I truly
scary.
am inside?
I remember that process myself. I was petrified. I actually had this image in my mind when I would think about it. It was this big cave, the opening of the cave, and there was this big guard there, like some kind of like Game of Thrones type of, or whatever, like some kind of fantasy kind of guard. And he had a spear and a big old shield. And he's like, "You're not getting in here." Because the feeling was if I went in there, I wouldn't come out. Like it would be the end of me. And then over the year or something that I started being open to entering and working with it, then after a while the guy changed. Then after a while he wasn't there anymore. And then after a while the cave was just a cave. It wasn't like my death cave. And one thing I want to say too about sometimes, well, for all of us, there have been many generations before us in our ancestral lines that have gone through and done, who have lived through and have perpetrated bad things, right? There have been bad things that have happened, bad choices, traumas, all kinds of things. And so that is in our cells. That is what we have been made of. And so I sometimes ask, is this me or is this from before me? Like, and I inherited it. It's still changeable, but it's slippery. It's tricky because we don't even often think about that in common American culture, that that's even possible. But multi-generational wounds, right, and traumas are real. It's been
Yes.
well documented. Even without hearing stories about past traumas continually lived, or addictions, right? All kinds of things can really travel in families. And so some of these things from someone who's maybe watching, it may not even absolutely not be yours.
Yeah, and when we find those things that aren't ours and we actually go into them like that scary cave, that's where the medicine is
Yes.
under these deep, deep
Hmm.
wounds. Our deepest wounds hold our greatest medicine. So when
Absolutely.
we can go in that dark cave and we can heal that stuff, now we didn't just heal it for us, we healed it for our great
Because,
grandmothers. We healed
oh,
it
yeah, definitely.
for,
And
yeah, for
yeah.
our
And
sons,
they didn't have the
daughters.
opportunity, right? There were no therapists, there were no
Yeah.
somatic, nothing like that. They just had to stuff it in their body and keep moving because if they stop, they die. And so that's their options. So there is
Yeah.
compassion, I think, also that I feel for a lot of them. Some are just absolute effers, but
Of course, of
but
course.
even there, they were made that way. Most people are not born psychopaths. They're made that way. So yeah, and I think that our generation, those of us who are alive now, it is the time to do this. That is our life's work. No
Exactly.
matter what, for the ones going forward, for the children, whether we have children or not, it's the collective, right? And also for the earth, for our planet, for the other beings besides humans. Like we're in a time of danger and like riskiness, right? Because we're kind of teetering on this edge of like, which way are we going here, people? And
Exactly,
so
exactly.
most people don't include what we've been talking about in the needs for now. So we can deal with the environment, we can deal with politics, we can deal with all of these different things. But if we don't really take note and root out the tap roots of poison that have been kind of brewed in this ultimate these cultural systems and religious systems, we're not going to become the different collective being that we know we can be and that we feel drawn to being.
Exactly. I'm so glad you touched on that because when we heal ourselves, we heal for everybody else.
Yeah, it
When we
ripples
can
through.
embody, yeah, when we can finally embody who we truly are, like that's why the focus is not truly on the politics and the things that are going on right now. Like, yes, that's important. We need to be aware, we need to be that, but we can get so deep in it that we're in fear, we're scared, we're angry, all these different things that are just poisoning us. But the best thing that we can do is to truly go inward and heal ourselves because then that kind of light turns on. And if enough of us can start doing that, then it affects that other side. That's kind of how
Yeah.
we battle this. That's kind of how we actually can see the change is by deeply healing ourselves and helping others find that healing in themselves.
That's the zeitgeist that can ripple through whole cultures and the planet unto itself that
Yes.
will change things. Where just boom, things change. Different choices are made, different priorities. We think differently. We approach the web of life differently. And
Yes.
so, yeah, wow. All right. Well, I think that's where we should end it right for right now. Sova Victoria, thank you so much.
My store that I have is Ember and Root.
I love that name.
and but my actual practice of what I do
Mm-hmm.
is sacred descent.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thank you.
My free spirited earthly companions, thank you for taking a moment. I am Quinn Red Mountain. I am happy to be with you, and I am the founder of Web of Life Animist. Also, I am the cultivator and caretaker of the Inner University, Inner U, YOU University. We are each a universe unto ourselves internally, how we operate in the world. I have an audio course that you might like. I am in the mood to give it away to anybody who has the promo code of free spirit, all one word. For any of us who are spiritually inclined or curious, but we're not really into the whole dogma thing, right? We don't want to be told how we're supposed to do it. It's great. And it's also, it can be a little confusing sometimes about how to step into it, how to follow our own path, especially when we don't see a path. I completely understand. And so that's what the Inner University is for. It is to offer prompts and ideas and a bit of guidance, and then always an opportunity to be introspective to rhythmic sound. That's kind of my thing. And it is amazing about what it does to our brains and how it opens up our dreaming mind and our contemplative nature. Also, to have some moments, some time to sit with ourselves and see what comes up, what bubbles up, what intrigues us or makes us curious about a variety of subjects. So, in this course, dreams, protection, connecting with our inner allies, giving in or exploring our animist nature, also that we are all kin here on this beautiful earth. So, please, you are invited and give it a try. Free Spirit is the promo code. And the course is called Animism for Free Spirits. Thank you. Hope to see you soon.